So it is January 2026. We are, what, barely 2 weeks into the new year?
Right.
And usually this is the time of year when the auto industry is, nursing a holiday hangover. Everything is quiet.
Dead quiet. Yeah, PR teams are on vacation. Nothing's happening.
But clearly BYD did not get that memo.
They absolutely did not. Instead of a slow start, they've decided to drop this huge strategic pivot that I think is going to make every single legacy luxury automaker just, well, rewrite their projections for the first quarter.
And that's exactly what we're digging into today. Because for the last couple of years, the big story has been about EVs going mainstream, right?
Uh-huh. Affordability, the $25,000 car?
All of that. But the news coming out of China just this week, it completely flips that script. This isn't just about BYD selling more cars anymore. It's about the biggest player in the game making a very, very aggressive play for the high-end luxury market.
It's a shift from volume to value. I mean, we're looking at a company that basically conquered the mass market.
Right.
And is now looking over at the premium sector and just saying, we'll take that too.
So let's set the table for you. We are analyzing the absolute latest updates on BYD's new flagship vehicles, the Seal 08 and the Sealion 08.
And we've been pulling reports from all over, electric, gas goo, car news China, just to piece this whole puzzle together.
But this is not just a spec sheet rundown. What we need to understand is the strategy. How does a company that's famous for the super affordable Seagull suddenly pivot to targeting, I don't know, the Range Rover demographic without losing its base?
That is the multi-billion-dollar question, isn't it? And to answer it, we really have to look beyond the sheet metal. We have to get into the buyer psychology and the economics of what they're calling this dual flagship strategy.
Okay, but let's start with the hardware, because honestly, these new images are pretty striking. So part one, the reveal. These teaser images, they just surfaced a few days ago, mid-January. But the breadcrumbs were dropped back in December, right?
That's right. December 15th, 2025, it was at their Ocean Day event. That's BYD's big annual showcase for their Ocean series. They hinted at these models then, but now we can actually see what they're building. And visually, it's a huge departure.
The Sealion 08, that's the one that really got me, the new SUV.
Yeah.
And, I mean, if you took the badges off, I would not have guessed it was a BYD.
Yeah.
It doesn't have that rounded, wind tunnel optimized EV look we've seen for the last 5 years.
It's decidedly anti-aero in its aesthetic, isn't it? The sources are describing it as having a robust, upright design.
It looks heavy, and I mean that in a good way. It's got presence.
And that's a very deliberate psychological play. Think about the EV market right now.
Okay.
Everyone from Tesla with the Model Y to Mercedes with the EQS SUV, they've all been chasing that jelly bean shape.
Sure, aerodynamics?
Exactly. Smoothing out every corner to maximize the range because aero is king when you're worried about battery efficiency.
Right. It's just physics. You want to slice through the air.
But the Sealion 08 just ignores that trend. It's boxy. It's upright. Electric explicitly compared it to a Range Rover.
They did.
And by doing that, BYD is sending this subtle message, which is, our battery tech is so good, we don't need to look like a jelly bean. It's a flex. It says they can afford to trade some of that efficiency for pure status and style.
That is a fascinating angle. I hadn't thought about the boxiness as a technology flex, but yeah, that makes total sense. If your battery density is there, you can afford to push a brick through the wind.
Right.
Now, where does this fit in their lineup? Because we already have a Sealion, the 07 model.
We do, and this is where it gets important. We know the Sealion 07 was their direct shot at the Tesla Model Y.
Yeah.
It's about 4,830 millimeters long, mid-sized, super popular.
Right.
Sealion 08 is a big step up. We're moving from that mid-sized crossover segment into the executive large SUV territory. Think Model X, think BMW X5, maybe even pushing toward a GLS size.
So this isn't just a pro version of the 07. It's a whole different weight class.
Completely different weight class. And the exact same thing is true for the sedan, the Seal 08.
Which I saw is confirmed to be larger than the Seal 06.
Correct. The Seal 06 is about 4,720 millimeters. The Seal 08 is being called a mid-to-large coupe-style sedan, and it's using their new design language, which they're calling ocean aesthetics.
Ocean aesthetics. It sounds a little bit like marketing speak, but looking at the pictures, I kind of get it. It's less playful.
Mm-hmm.
The early ocean cars, the Dolphin, the Seagull, they were kind of cute. They had these fun marine-inspired curves. These new cars look serious.
Sophisticated is the word I'd probably use. They're shedding that budget-friendly skin, and they are launching these fast. If you're in China, you're seeing these debuts in the first quarter of 2026.
Wow.
This isn't some concept car for 2028. These are rolling off the line, like now.
Okay, so we have the Ocean 8 flagships coming.
Okay.
But this brings me to the part of the strategy that, I'll be honest, makes my head hurt a little.
Yeah.
BYD has the Ocean series, but they also have the Dynasty series.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm reading here that the Dynasty team is also launching their own flagships at the exact same time.
That's right. Welcome to the dual flagship strategy.
See, to me, this just looks like a mess.
Yeah.
You've got the Ocean team launching the Seal 08 and Sealion 08, and then at the same time, the Dynasty team is launching the Tang 9 SUV and the Han 9 sedan.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that just cannibalization? I mean, why would you spend billions developing two different flagship SUVs to release them in the same 6 months? Aren't they just fighting themselves?
It does look like cannibalization from the outside, I'll give you that. And most legacy automakers would never do this.
Never.
GM wouldn't launch a flagship Chevy and a flagship Buick that compete for the same driver on the same day. But BYD, they're playing a different game. It's all about market saturation and psychographics.
Okay, break that down for me. Who's buying the Ocean 08 versus the Dynasty Tang 9?
Think of it like fishing with two completely different kinds of nets. The Dynasty series named after Chinese historical periods, right?
The Han, the Tang.
That appeals to a very specific kind of buyer. The data shows these buyers tend to value heritage, stateliness, a more traditional definition of luxury. They want the wood grain, the regal names, that element of national pride.
Okay, so that's sort of the old money or traditionalist demographic.
Loosely, yeah. And then you have the Ocean series. This was designed from day one to be more international, younger, and more tech-forward. The aesthetic is sharper, colder, more futuristic.
Oh, I see.
The buyer who wants that Range Rover vibe, but with cutting-edge tech, they're looking at the Sealion 08. They probably wouldn't be caught dead in a Tang 9 because it just feels too traditional for them.
So they aren't stealing sales from each other. They're actually blocking competitors from two different sides.
Exactly. They are building a net that catches two different kinds of fish. If you want luxury, BYD wants to sell it to you, whether you see yourself as a Dynasty person or an Ocean person. It's incredibly aggressive, and it stops a competitor like, say, Xiaomi or Tesla from finding a little niche that BYD hasn't already covered.
It's the illusion of choice strategy. But for this to work, the cars actually have to be good.
Oh, absolutely.
We don't have the price yet, but we know they're claiming latest technology. Now, you follow BYD's supply chain really closely. When they say latest tech for a 2026 flagship, what are we actually looking at? Because intelligent cockpit is just a buzzword that means nothing these days.
It is, but with BYD, we can make some very educated guesses. When they say latest tech for a car of this size, we have to talk about the chassis. I would bet my reputation that these cars will have high-end versions of the DCS body control system.
That's the hydraulic suspension thing, right? The one that lets the car jump.
The jumping is the party trick for TikTok.
Okay.
The reality of DCS is that it keeps a massive heavy SUV completely flat through a corner. It just eliminates body roll. It makes a 3-ton vehicle handle like a sports sedan.
And that's essential.
It's essential if you want to compete with a Porsche Cayenne or a BMW X5. You can't just have a nice screen. The car has to drive remarkably well.
And what about the battery? Are we looking at solid state yet?
Probably not fully solid state for high volume production, not yet, but most likely the second generation Blade battery. So we're talking higher energy density, squeezing more range into that boxy shape we mentioned, and even faster charging.
Right.
Plus, from the prototypes, they are loaded with sensors. These are likely running dual Orin X chips or whatever BYD's proprietary version is. They're pushing hard for high-level autonomous highway driving.
So it's not just a pretty shell.
No, not at all. It's a tech powerhouse, and they're positioning these as comprehensive mobility experiences.
Ugh, I hate that phrase.
I know, me too, but in this case, it actually means something. The integration of software and hardware is total. BYD makes the battery, the chips, the motors, the software, even the seats.
Vertical integration, the classic BYD superpower.
And it is the only reason they can pull off a dual flagship strategy. If they were buying parts from suppliers like everyone else, developing two separate flagships would be way too expensive. But because they own the whole supply chain, the cost of spinning up a second variant is it's significantly lower.
Let's zoom out to the market context then, because the numbers here are frankly ridiculous. We need to talk about why this launch matters right now.
The scoreboard for 2025. This is the aha moment. In 2025, BYD sold over 2.25 million pure electric vehicles.
Just to be clear for everyone listening, That's not counting hybrids.
No hybrids in that number. If you add the hybrids, they're pushing 4 million total.
Wow.
But just pure EVs, they outsold Tesla by more than 600,000 units.
That gap is just widening. I remember just a couple years ago, they were neck and neck.
It's a canyon now. And here's the real kicker. A huge chunk of that volume came from the Ocean series. Since it started in late 2021, the Ocean series alone has delivered 6 million vehicles. 6 million. That's bigger than most established car companies' entire production runs over decades.
It is. Models like the Song PLUS, the Seagull, the Dolphin, they've each sold over 1 million units. But, and this is the pivot, those are mass-market cars. They're low-margin, high-volume products.
Right. The Seagull is a great little car, but you're not making $20,000 profit on each one.
Exactly. You're making pennies on the dollar, but you make it up in sheer volume. But now look at the Sealion 08. This is the whole strategy shift. They have used the cheap cars to build this massive war chest of cash and manufacturing power.
And now they're using that war chest to attack the high-margin territory.
This is the part that should scare the Germans.
It should terrify them.
Because legacy automakers, Mercedes, BMW, Audi, even the American giants, they live and die on the profit margins of their big luxury SUVs.
Yeah.
They sell a few small cars to meet regulations, but they make their money on the X7 and the GLS.
And BYD is about to park a tank on their lawn. Precisely. If BYD can offer a Sealion 08 that looks like a Range Rover, drives with disc suspension like a Porsche, has the battery tech of a Tesla, but they price it 20 or 30% lower because they own the supply chain,
It destroys the profit model of the legacy luxury brands.
it completely upends it.
It's the Samsung strategy, isn't it? Samsung started out making, cheap knockoff electronics. Then they got good. Then they made the Galaxy S series, which went head-to-head with the iPhone, while they were still selling cheap phones to the rest of the world.
That's a very, very apt comparison. And just like Samsung, BYD is trying to prove that you can be a mass market player and a luxury player at the same time if your product is good enough.
But that brings up the branding challenge. And this is where I'm still a little skeptical. Can you really be everything to everyone? Can a brand that's famous for the Seagull, a little utility car for students, convince a wealthy executive to drop $80,000, maybe $100,000 on a Sealion?
That is the ultimate test of brand elasticity. Toyota realized they couldn't do it, so they created Lexus.
Right. Honda created Acura. Nissan made Infiniti.
They needed a clean slate to sell luxury.
But BYD is keeping it all under the main umbrella. It's just the BYD Ocean series.
It is a bold gamble. They are betting that the BYD brand itself has gained enough technological prestige that it just doesn't matter if they also sell cheap cars. They're betting that BYD now stands for best battery tech, not cheap Chinese car.
And to be fair, in 2026, that perception really is shifting. If you talk to tech-savvy buyers, they respect the engineering.
They do. And the Ocean aesthetics helps a lot. If the car looks the part, people are more forgiving of the badge. We saw that with the Hyundai Ioniq 5.
Oh, good point.
Hyundai was a budget brand, but that design was so undeniable that people paid premium prices for it. The Sealion 08 is trying to do that, but on a massive scale.
Okay, so let's synthesize all of this for the listener who's maybe driving home right now. Why should they care about two cars launching in China?
You should care, because these cars are the harbingers of the next phase of the entire auto industry. 2026 is the year the price war moves upstairs.
Meaning, it's not just at the bottom anymore.
Exactly. We've had the price war at the bottom. Now we're going to see a price war in the luxury segment.
So, luxury SUVs might actually become more affordable, or at least a better value.
A much better value. If BYD floods the market with these high-spec, lower-priced luxury SUVs, everyone else has to respond. Tesla will have to refresh the Model X. BMW has to rethink the pricing on the iX. The consumer wins because the competition is about to get really hot at the top end.
It forces innovation. You can't just rest on your brand heritage anymore.
You absolutely can. And we are likely to see these Ocean models go global. BYD has been super aggressive with exports. The Sealion 07 is already expanding. The 08 will definitely follow. So this isn't just a domestic Chinese story. It's a preview of what's coming to showrooms in Europe and, well, potentially elsewhere.
It's going to be a fascinating year to watch the sales charts. I really want to see if that dual flagship strategy pays off.
Me too. Or if they just end up with a lot of confused customers in the showrooms. I'll have my spreadsheets ready.
My money's on the Ocean line. I think that Range Rover look is timeless, and if they nail the execution, it's going to be a monster.
We shall see.
Look, before we sign off, I just want to take a moment and talk directly to you, the listener. We know that in 2026, time is the single most valuable thing you have. There is endless content, endless noise fighting for your attention.
Absolute.
And the fact that you chose to spend these 15 minutes with us, unpacking the strategy behind an automotive giant, we really don't take that for granted.
We really hope this deep dive gave you some clarity on the why behind the headlines, not just the what.
That's always the goal. We want you to walk away smarter than you were when you hit play.
Uh,
So thank you for listening. Thank you for your curiosity. And thank you for trusting us with your time.
Yeah.
Keep watching the roads because the landscape is changing faster than ever.
Stay curious.
We'll catch you on the next deep dive. Bye for now.